Okay, it is the AK4490 chips. And this thing will handle pretty much everything. Not MQA unless they've done an update, and I haven't checked for updates actually. I should do that after I finish this and just see if there is an update. But you know, it'll handle everything else, 24, 36 if you want. DSDs, direct, and so on. So let me just run you through the inputs and outputs on the back, and then I'm going to power it up and show you the features that this thing has. So we got lots of inputs. So we've got two opticals, optical 1 and 2. Then we got a coaxial. Then we've got USB and AES. Standard stuff. Two opticals is a little different. But we also have analog in. Okay? Analog out is RCA, not XLR. But we also have digital out. Optical digital out and coaxial digital out. Now, the one thing I've got to say is when you see optical outs, or digital outs, I should say, coaxial or optical, it generally implies to me that this is not a pass-through. So when you put analog in, you're going analog, digital, analog out, right? It's not pure. Now this has, which I'll show you in the features in a minute, this has the ability to go, it's referred to as direct analog out. And it takes the volume pod out of it. That much I'm certain of. But is it just a pass-through at that point? I'm not certain that it is. And I haven't run a test on it to see definitively whether it takes the chip out or whether it just changes it to like a line out mode and takes the volume pod out. I think that's what it's actually doing. Now there's also an SD card here, I forgot to mention. So your SD card has two things. It's either to update your software, or you can put DSD files on your SD card and you can play them direct from this, but it's painful. I don't know why you do that when you have a USB, right? And with the USB, I mean, you know, you can use an OTG cable, and this is a Type C, but you know, whatever. I've got micro, I've got Apple, I've got whatever. And you can use them all. So, all right, let's keep moving. Let's power it up. All right. So, on the front, you have a remote, and the remote makes all this really easy. I'm going to show you the hard way. So anyway, you can turn this small dial here, and you go through your various different inputs. I went through them on the back. It's the same, right? Optical 1, optical 2. So on the front, we've got an output selector, RCA, or phones. Simple as that. Input selector here, you turn, volume. Volume is beautiful. It's so at lower volumes, it's a half decibel. At higher volumes, or sorry, as you reduce it down, it's full decibels. Actually, it's still doing half decibels, isn't it? When you turn it fast, it's full. When you turn it slow, it's half. Interesting. I've never noticed that before. Anywho, so now if you want to access the features, push and hold this. Got amp gain, tons of options there. You push it again, and you'll drop down, and now I can adjust my amp gain to whatever I want, and it goes up to 20 dBs. Yeah. Actually, I'll turn that down later. Upsampling. Again, I have 1 times, 2 times, 4 times. Right? After upsampling, we've got a digital filter, and we've got an array of them. You know, the standard. Short delay, sharp roll-off, slow roll-off, super slow. If you're not using really high-end phones and every link in the chain has to be perfect, you can hear a difference. Otherwise, you can't hear a difference. So then we have sound controls. We've got settings. We've got 3 settings that we can save. This is whether I want to use the internal clock or the clock of whatever's sending the signal. Primarily, this is going to be for something like optical in, and I'm choosing whether I'm using the external clock or the internal clock. Direct, again, this is referring to taking the volume out of the equation. And on or off, right? Input memory, input and volume. So you'll remember what your volume is with the different inputs, and you know, it's a nice feature. So that if you switch over to something, you remember your volumes. USB mute, on or off. So this is my SD card. Put it in repeat mode for the folder if I'm playing DSDs off it or whatever I put on it. LCD on or off, self-explanatory. Auto power off. Turn that on. You know, right now it's on, off. It just shuts it down automatically if it doesn't have a signal. System information. And we're back to amp gain. Push and hold it again, and we're back out to the standard view. It's a heck of an amp. It's great. I mean, you know, you've got the ability, whether you're in Europe or Japan or North America, you can change the voltage inside. You just move the connector. That's fantastic. You know, it arrives set for Japan, 100 volts. You just pop the top off, move the connector, and we're at 120. And I'm running, according to my power conditioner, 123 to 124 volts here at 60 hertz. So it's well made. It's a Japanese product. It's got tons of horsepower. The only down I have about it at all is whether or not that's a clean pass-through with the RCA in and RCA out. And I don't know the answer to that. I'll probably do some research and I might update it in the notes. Or I might do a test and update it in the notes. Other than that, I mean, it is a solid piece of gear. Really fantastic. You know, it sounds fantastic. It's a great headphone amp. Anyway, if you liked it, click like and subscribe. That's all. Thanks.